Hey guys, Lucas from Explorer here. Today we're going to do some street photography around Kichijoji with the Pentax 17, and I got some Ilfocolor classic vintage 400 film. Never used this before, never even heard of it before until I saw it in the shop when I got it, so we'll see how that goes. And I also want to talk about something else today. I want to talk about the idea of mood in photography and how that applies to my work, and maybe give you guys some ideas for your work as well. Before all that, of course, those of you supporting us on Patreon, big thank you to you guys. If you'd like to support us on there, we would be grateful to you as well. And you know, if you ever come to Tokyo, take a workshop. That's probably the best way to really support the channel. You get, you know, an awesome workshop from me or one of the other guys on the team, and we get your support. Also, we do have a map of Tokyo photo spots, which is available on our website. So if you don't want to take a workshop, that's cool. Check out the map. You can explore Tokyo via the map. There are over 500 locations as of the making of this video on that map. All right, and one last thing. I do have prints available on my website and a book available, Tokyo Unseen, so check that out too. All the links are in the description below. Let's get on to the video.
I explore.
All right, I'm gonna start shooting there because, like I said, it's not quite at the zero, but when I did this before, I had a whole bunch of actual extra shots, so it felt like a waste. I'm just gonna shoot a few of the same thing. That way I know I'm not gonna miss anything with some variation. And also, I feel like I should overexpose a little bit because when we should set it's set to 400 already. Because when I shot a roll of film last time on a cloudy day, it was different film, but it was also 400 ISO. I felt everything was a little bit underexposed. So I'm just gonna push the film a little bit. I'm gonna go 0.7 over on the compensation because I feel like why not? That's the most likely. Like I think it's better to overexpose a little bit than underexpose with film. So I'm gonna go 0.7 over. And for this first shot, actually, I'm gonna go plus a whole one stop because I want to shoot this cool neon sign up there against the sky. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit closer. It is extremely hot out here, guys, by the way. Very humid day. Okay, so I'm gonna actually get both signs there. And then I'm gonna do it on a zero exposure, just because again, I think I have some extra shots here in the beginning. All right, we'll do one more on +1. Okay, so I also want to shoot something back here that I know is back here, because I've been here before, and that is these cute little dinosaur things. And we're gonna shoot that on 1.7 meters, I think. Yeah, right about there. Back up just a little bit. Nice. Okay, then we'll keep going. So, mood. What is mood? First, before I kind of define it, maybe I should define it first, but before I define it, I will just say this, that when I first started doing photography like 15 years ago, I remember distinctly thinking like, what I like in photos is, you know, nice textures, nice light, and a good mood. I didn't know anything about composition, right? It was only later that I started to hear about things like the rule of thirds, which I really hate now, but let's not go there. Because well, I should go there maybe to explain that mysterious statement. It's just too simplistic and rigid. I don't like the idea of the rule of thirds. I try to avoid teaching people that, and I don't think about it. But I got really into that kind of stuff, and I remember putting all my photos on thirds or like subjects on thirds and being really focused on the composition. And I kind of lost sight of this idea of mood until recently. Oh, let's shoot something over there, where I've sort of, you know, come back to it. Okay. And so, for me, mood. Let me again, before I define it, because the definition is vague. I don't have a really concrete definition. I'm going to just shoot this real quick. Do it like that. Nice. See how that turned out? A little street photo. So basically, the composition is like the how. Okay, the how of you're going to execute this photo. How are you going to frame it? And then also like all the camera settings and all that stuff. It's all, you know, that's the how. The what is just the subject, that's what you're photographing. But the mood is kind of like the why of the photo. It's the reason you're taking the photo. So for me, the mood is very difficult to describe, like, oh, you see in this photo, this is where the mood is. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know how they're turning out film. Film obviously imposes its own little bit of mood onto an image. Let's cross here and then we'll go on a little side street there. So, because of course, you know, it edits the photo in a certain way because the film has a look, right? And which is why I'm shooting with this, because I want to see how it turns out. I'm curious what kind of moods are imposed on my images with the film that I've chosen for today. But even with digital, I mean, the mood is there, except then kind of, you're developing it through editing. But the point is that it's not something that I could easily point to and say, oh, this is the thing that's creating the mood or giving the photo mood. Sometimes it's the light, sometimes it's the look in the person's photo, sometimes it's just the overall ambiance, right? But what the mood does, and this is why I call it the why of the photo, is it makes you feel a certain way. And before you even take the photo, right, you must feel something that compels you to take the photo, right? And that's kind of how I shoot it. That's what, when I'm walking around, sometimes I shoot photos of very mundane stuff, like those pipes I just photographed. I noticed them just before we started the video, but I knew, I was like, oh, I'm gonna want to shoot this because this is exactly the point, is that I photograph those kind of pipes and things because they give me a certain mood, or they make me feel something, but I can't quite put my finger on it, and then it doesn't work for everybody. People might look at that photo and say, I don't feel anything, and that's okay, because it's gonna vary from person to person. Here I love this really messed up old vending machine. I think I'm a little too close though. Yeah, I'm gonna step in there. This is all nasty and messed up anyway, so I don't feel bad about stepping in there. I am locked and loaded. I'm gonna go to plus 0.7 for the exposure, and I got the person going through, but then I'm gonna do one without as well. I'm gonna lean back a little more. Okay. One thing I'll say about the Pentax, by the way, the fact that it's a 25mm lens, but then it's also cropped because it's the half frame, it's tricky. It makes things like that was a very tight scene. I wish they went with a slightly wider lens for the crop thing. Like if this was an 18mm lens or a 17mm lens, because it's the Pentax 17. I know that it's called that because the half of the frame is 17mm across, but it would be cool if it had two meanings, which is also they're using a 17mm lens, which would then crop down to, I guess, a 35mm lens because it's a crop factor of 2, I think. I want to shoot this, but that's going to be way too dark for film, huh? 400 ISO. Let's just try it. I'm going to go plus 2 on the exposure. I'm trying to be more cavalier. Last time I was very conservative with my exposures. I thought, okay, it's going to be fine, and there was a little person in the background. We'll see how that turns out. All right, so when you have an urge to photograph something, whatever that is, there must be some emotion that it's imposing on you. Maybe, right? Maybe. Because sometimes we just take photos of things that we think are cool without really feeling anything. And sometimes we look at photos that we like because we're just impressed by them. We're like, oh, that's a cool photo. But it doesn't make you feel anything. At least I have that experience. Sometimes I see photos on Instagram, and no offense to anybody, I'm not singling anybody out here, but I see a photo, I'm like, wow, that's really impressive. But I don't feel anything, right? By the way, if you ever received a comment from me on your photo, it's because I did feel something. So I will rarely say, hey, great photo, if I'm just impressed. You need to feel something. So being impressed is not a feeling, is what I'm trying to say. I love this. I love the mood in this scene, for example, this overgrown sign that says Baroque, right? And then this kind of vague greenish glow, which we don't really see, but it's very green in there from this awning. So let's see if I can photograph this without this political poster. I hate those things. They're all over Tokyo. I'm going to do 2 shots of this at different focal lengths or different focusing distances because I really want to learn this camera. Okay. Yeah, so mood is this kind of, like I said, this ephemeral, inscrutable, hard to describe thing. It's more of a feeling than anything, but it is, of course, evoked by something in the scene. And so I already rattled off some of those things, but I should talk about that more. And that is like, of course, the light. Let's check out those umbrellas. The light, the color, the texture, the people, what they're doing, what they're, emoting through their behaviors or through their gestures. All these things contribute to the mood. I'm gonna let all these people pass. Okay, and here again, I think I should go to 3 meters, I guess, right? Yeah, I think 3 is good. I'll see my sand. Okay, a little lower. Okay. Still on plus 1. I'm gonna go down to 0.7. I feel like maybe things are gonna be a little overexposed. I'm so worried about the exposure because that's the one thing I really just have to learn it. I have to learn that, okay, in this kind of overcast light, on this film, and I also wonder like how different are film stocks. Like if it's 400 but this film or 400 of that film, I think they do behave a little bit differently. So I have to learn those things as well. There's a lot to learn with film photography. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, so I already rattled off all those different things that contribute to the mood, and that's what I'm looking for. But I never really know exactly what it is until I see it. And a lot of photographers will say that. They say, I don't know what I'm looking for, especially street photographers, but I'll know it when I see it, right? And I feel like when they say it, I feel like a lot of people, without even realizing, are talking about this mood idea more than composition. Sure, sometimes things just line up, but I find like some of my photos where I depend on the more compositional tricks, like, oh, look, this person perfectly fits into this thing, or the colors match up, like here there's some red cones, maybe a woman in a red dress walks by. But even if captured very technically well, a lot of those photos of my own, I'm just criticizing myself here, they feel soulless. Like I don't find them interesting. I shot them, I thought, oh, they're very clever, but they're not interesting. And it's because they lack the mood. It's only if you have that stuff, the great composition, the colors matching up, or all that kind of cool stuff, but then you also somehow evoke this emotional kind of content, right? Emotional impact in yourself first and foremost, because you're the zero viewer, right? You're the original viewer of your photo. You're seeing it before the photo is created, and then you're going to be the first one to see it when you're editing and stuff. If it doesn't have any emotional impact for you, any mood, then it's not a good image. That's my feeling. Or it's not a bad image, but it's not a great image. It's just an image, and like I said, an impressive image doesn't make it actually impactful. It's just, oh cool, that's impressive. You lined up all the things. Everything looks really neat and organized in your photo, but so what if it doesn't have any emotional content? Oh wait, here's the scene. This guy with the, oh nice. Iいですか? あ、かっこいい。ありがとう。ありがとう。So I take plenty of photos myself where I'm just, I'm snapping things because I just think they're interesting, but there's no real impact for me. Or often, for example, if I'm traveling, I know I may never be to this place ever again. I travel somewhere, some city, I'm only visiting once, and I take a lot of, tourist photos, which sounds a little disparaging, probably it is, but I take a lot of them. I do it myself because there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we just want to photograph things just to document them, literally document them for yourself, like have this for later, right? Family photos are like that. I take a lot of photos of my son, because they don't always have amazing moods other than the fact that he's always got a great mood. But the point is I just want to have photos of him because he's going to grow up and I want to have these memories. That's different. Well, the whole mood thing is more really about like street photography and urban photography, where it's very easy to fall into this rut of just photographing like the same old stuff that everybody photographs. We all go to Shibuya Crossing and we take these kind of soulless photos. No offense, I think some of my own photos are soulless, so I'm not saying this to crap on people's photos. To have a photo that has quote unquote soul, I believe it needs what I'm saying. Like the soul, that's even harder, more difficult to describe. It's the mood, right? That's what I'm saying. It has some sort of emotional impact. I'm trying to think if I could shoot something here. I do like the graffiti and stuff. I might just shoot it just because I'm curious how the colors come out. So this is a great example. I don't really feel anything here. I almost did, but I really don't. It's just a piece of graffiti on a wall. It doesn't really do that much for me, but I'm just curious. Should I go to like 0.5 meters? I think 1.2 is better. But I'm just curious how these colors will come out on this film. This is purely academic, with a little bit of that bite coming in, this red against the gray. I want to see how that red's going to pop. Curious, and I'm still 0.7 overexposed, so we'll see how that turns out. Let's go straight here. Yeah, and so all my ramblings about mood and all this stuff can really be summed up in a quote from Robert Duano, who's a very famous photographer back in the day, shooting in black and white, mostly street photography. I'm not actually that familiar with his work. There's a few famous photos of his that I know. And he says, I might butcher this, but he says something like, to suggest is to create, and to describe is to destroy. And what that implies to me is that, again, this mood is this suggested idea. It's not concrete. I cannot tell you exactly where the mood lies in a particular photo. It is a suggestion of a feeling, somehow from the sum of the parts, the synergy of the composition, the light, the color, the texture, like in this scene that I'm going to shoot here. I feel it evokes something. And that suggestion creates a feeling, right? It creates an idea. Sometimes we call it a story for street photographers, but I try to shy away from the word story because story is too, I'm glad I double checked my focus because it was way off. Story is too literal, like in a lot of photos we say, oh, there should be a story, but sometimes it's just like a guy smoking or something, right? Or like a silhouette behind glass. A lot of my photos are like that. What's the story there? You kind of make up your own story. I don't think there's a story. I think what there is a mood, right? And so that's what we're trying to suggest through our photos. And then the create, or to describe is to destroy part, I guess what he means is if a photo is too literal, if it's just showing you the object, look, here it is, then it doesn't create anything in you. It's just, there's no mystery to it. It's just, okay, here's this cool thing. And this is why, you know, like what I'm saying, like very, you know, cool, flashy photos of, you know, famous scenes, they don't really evoke anything. They destroy it, if anything, because they just show you the cool thing and you're just supposed to be impressed, right? I think it's better to take, you know, a little bit messy photos of things. Maybe messy is the wrong word, but like imperfect photos of things, if that means that they're going to evoke more emotion in you. Oh, you're going to do a shot here with this gentleman. If he comes back, there's a little sushi chef in there. Okay, we'll see how that turns out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to keep it on 3 meters here. Actually, maybe I'll get a quick shot of the food here. I think it might be interesting. 0.5 meters. Kind of an angle. And it's saying it's underexposed. It's warning me about the exposure, so probably it was under. But let's just see. Let's just see how everything fares. Oh, I love this. I love the light here. And definitely there is a mood. This kind of soft light with these old orange stools. I hope I framed that exactly how I want it with this kind of, you know, with the parallax here. The framing is never exactly precise, which annoys me a bit because I'm a very pedantic, kind of compulsive framer. I like to frame things really perfectly. I shoot in this direction too. Okay. That would have been cool, but I think I was on the wrong distance there. I'm gonna try it again on 3 meters, even with nobody there. Well, he might come back, but okay. I'm being a little bit wasteful with the film because I'm treating this video more, let's go straight, like a learning experience for me, because I'm shooting like multiple photos of the same scene, but with different focusing distances or different exposures sometimes, because I'm trying to really understand what this camera does. Okay, hopefully by the time I develop this one, I'll remember what I had done. Ooh. Okay, I'm not going to shoot that anyway, but I do want to shoot this plant here. That's why I stopped. Let's see here, 1.2 meters maybe. That's about 1.2, I feel. Yeah. I love urban plants. Nice. Again, it evokes some kind of a mood in me, a feeling of this, you know, little bit of green, this lush green, trying to live in this kind of gross urban environment, you know. I love the way the light filters through that awning and hits this little sign. Maybe let's do a landscape. Haven't done many landscapes. I'm on the wrong distance, of course. Let's do, I think, more than 3 meters. I think this is 3 meters, right? I'm about 3 meters away. Okay. And then let's go in here. It's very dim in here, but there's a little patch of light in the distance there. And maybe there's a shot here. I came in here a long time ago. I don't remember what's in here, but yeah, this light coming down. Very cool effect. Very moody, I think, right? Definitely has a mood. Even Axel's nodding. And when we started talking about this video, he was like, what are you talking about, mood? But now he gets it. In fact, I'm gonna get a little quick shot at Axel here. He looks really cool with his light and the sunglasses. Yeah, look up a little bit, dude. Oh, yeah. And I'm gonna do one more. Just do it again, same pose. I'm gonna expose it even brighter. The reason I had you look up is your sunnies are catching those fluorescent lights like perfectly. All right, am I gonna shoot this though? Again, see, this is where the 25mm lens in this environment with this kind of crop is really tricky, but I'm gonna try anyway, because why not? 3 meters, this should probably be 1.7. I don't need to be that overexposed anymore. I'm just gonna go +1, I think. Total guess, I really don't know. Okay. All right, so keep going, but that felt pretty cool in there. I like this environment. Let's check, there are 2 streets here. We might go down this one or maybe this one. Ooh. Okay, let's go down this one. It's just a guy walking down the alley, but it was cool. But let's go down the other street actually. The other one's better. It's more dense. I just ended up chasing that dude. It is what it is. Well, now there's this man coming. Let's wait for him. I'm gonna stop here. Nice. All right, I want to go to one more spot here that we kind of glossed over earlier. We'll see how that turns out. There's the, actually I'm curious how these fluorescent lights turn out from like a low angle. There's a row of fluorescent lights and lamps. I'm going to do it at a slight angled composition. Cool. And then over here, there's the main part of this Harmonica Street complex. Just a moment. Okay, no, I thought there was somebody in there, but it was just my reflection. This one here. All right, so yeah, I like it from out here, although this awning kind of in the way, but I like all these little red lamps here and the red sign. I'm curious how those reds are going to turn out on this film. Let's get this lady here. Let's go in here a little bit. I just want to get these lamps here. They look nice, the way they're lit. I'm going to do one on 0 exposure here. I'm curious how it's going to handle it, but just to compare. All right, and then I think we're going to go through to the other side. Did a little quick, basically hip shot, like from chest level. I think we've covered this area well. I think I've covered the concept well of what is mood for me. Well, maybe I didn't cover it well. I think it was still not perfectly defined, but that's the point. You have to kind of define it for yourself. But I encourage you to search for mood in your images by looking for those things that I mentioned: light, texture, the color, of course, and then the actions and behaviors of people if possible. But really, it comes from within. It's something that you feel more than you recognize in a technical sense. All right, so we'll stop there. I have still a few more photos in the roll, but I'm just gonna do them on my own, and we'll see what I get. I'm looking forward to developing this one. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video, and as always, challenge your eye. Oh, you're still here. Well, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That really helps us out, with the algorithm. But since you're here, I want to remind you guys the different ways you can support this channel. The best one being coming to Tokyo or Kyoto and taking a workshop with us, or me or one of the other guys on the team. That's a huge help. Of course, we have some other things that we offer. For example, you can purchase a map of Tokyo photo spots. Currently, there are over 500 locations on the map, useful for planning your trip in Tokyo or exploring the city. Also, I do have a book out called Tokyo Unseen, so please check that out. And I do sell prints, so if you'd like one of my photos as a print, check that out as well. But last but not least, there is Patreon. Those of you who support us on Patreon, we're extremely grateful, and anybody who's thinking about it, we'd really appreciate that. That is another way to get access to the photo spot map. All right. And last little tiny thing, there are referral links to all the gear and stuff that we use in the videos, so just clicking on those links helps us out as well. And of course, all the other things I mentioned are also linked in the description. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching to the end, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.